In order to better illustrate what I mean by aesthetic realism, I wanted to use We Heart It as an example of the marketing that they do in reference to the value and product brands that I was speaking about earlier in the report. So as you can see here, we are confronted with several different images, all of which are arguably aesthetically appealing. The lighting is just right in each of them. However, there's still very close detail. For example, the sheets here are a little tampered with. Um, Here we see a very normal picture of someone sitting next to their dog. Here we see someone wearing a not very normal t-shirt, but it's presented in a way that is still aesthetically appealing. What this accomplishes is a reflection of life in all of its mundanity, in all of its normalcy, but it glamorizes it. And you and I, as consumers, can reproduce this kind of value or image. So, in order to break down aesthetic realism, we have to consider what each means on their own. Aestheticism was a movement that originated in the Victorian ages. It was art for art's sake. It was the absence of morality. It had a high emphasis on decadence and um, the riches and spoils of life. So, as we can see here, there is a bit of that flair here. Here we see, some decadence. Um, we also, we see multiple images that have an absence of an overall message, excluding this image here. However, that's when the realism comes into play. Realism models life in its true form. So, what we're seeing here is life. And another key element towards realism is the reflection of particularly middle class life, or the average way that a person perceives life. So Eli Siegel, who actually theorized aesthetic realism, wrote a book called Self and World in 1981, and his main premise of aesthetic realism was to see everything as well as you can. So perceive the world in the best fashion that you can. And obviously, what we're seeing here is exactly that. These are images um, that are sometimes they're a little bit decadent, but at other times, like for example, there's this highly glamorized picture of a pizza. It makes you want the pizza. It makes you, um, looking out onto an urban area, it makes you want to take in those views and reflect upon them. Um, all of these things invoke a sense of action and value uh, toward us as human beings. Um, you know, so the important thing to take away in marketing for sites and social media platforms, particularly, is to keep in mind that even with the absence of um, outright advertisement, we're still being advertised a lifestyle and a value. And what's interesting and unique about We Heart It is that they do this with the absence of words, and they really rely on the impact of the aesthetics of their product.